Hello, we are very pleased to welcome Hamish Chamberlayne from Janus Henderson Investors. You are one of our sponsors of our annual event, so it's a strong signal of your commitment to sustainable finance. What kind of strategy do you have on this?
Thank you. So Janus Henderson Investors has been managing responsible investment strategies for almost 30 years. Our main global sustainable equity strategy was launched in 1991. And we're one of the first non-French investment firms to receive the SRI label for the French market. For us, sustainability is one of the best investment strategies, and we think it can bring a lot of value to investors' portfolios. It's important to note, though, that it's not just about focusing on companies which are responsibly managed. For us, it's also very important to consider what are the primary activities of a company. What is this company producing? Ultimately, we think that those companies which are providing solutions to the four great environmental and social megatrends of climate change, resource constraints, an aging population and a growing population, these trends which are putting the global economy under so much pressure, we think those businesses that are providing solutions to these trends will provide a very good long-term investment return for investors. And it's also, on the other side, important for us to avoid those companies which are producing goods and services that are running counter to sustainable development goals, because we think these businesses are more at risk of regulation or disruption.
So that explains that you choose for your wake-up call the topic, the great disruption created by the transition to a low-carbon economy. What kind of point you will focus on?
Well, we think the transition to a low-carbon economy is going to be one of the most important investment trends of the next decade. And we run a low-carbon global equity strategy. We think we have one of the lowest carbon global equity strategies in the marketplace. I think the really important thing to note here is that this is no longer about politics. We think this transition is going to be driven primarily by economic factors. We think it's inevitable. And we still think investors underappreciate the financial risks associated with this transition. We have seen some early signs of disruption, for instance, in the coal sector or in German utilities, but we still think there are many more industries and companies that are going to be disrupted by this transition. For example, the automotive sector, companies supplying the automotive sector, heavy industry, and all fossil fuel companies, including oil and gas. The reality is that over the last 5 years, we've seen an incredible cost decline in clean technologies. The price of wind and solar has declined by up to 80%, and these technologies are now the most competitive forms of power generation in many parts of the world, including the United States. And that's on an unsubsidized basis. So we think we are going to see structural deflation in energy markets over the next decade. And this is going to impact all fossil fuel sectors. So this is going to happen as economic growth, effectively global economic growth, is going to be driven by low carbon technologies instead of fossil fuels. So this is going to lead to this deflation. So we think an investment strategy founded on a low carbon approach just makes very good investment sense.
So a very strong message. Thank you very much, Hamish. And I hope we'll see you, and you also, I hope, at Novethic annual event, December 13 in Paris.